All right, so I'm going to show you how to bind off your stitches. When you're all done with your project, you want to take your stitches and you want to have them secured so they don't just fall off the needle. So binding off is really simple. If you know how to knit, you know how to bind off. What we're going to do is we're going to start knitting, and we're going to knit 2 stitches onto the right needle. Okay, so we have them here. Then you're going to, I like to hold these stitches with my right hand. You're going to go to the first stitch. You're going to actually get in there with the left hand needle, and you're going to pull that first stitch over the second stitch and off of the needle. So now we just have 1 stitch on the right. So we're going to do it again. We're going to knit a stitch off from the left needle onto the right, and now we have 2 stitches on the needle, on the right needle. We're going to slip the first stitch here over the second stitch and let it fall off. And we'll do it again. So we're going to knit another stitch, slide the first stitch over the second stitch and off the needle. And you want to keep going and just make sure you keep 2 stitches on the right needle. So now I only have 1 stitch, so I'm going to knit another one so that I will have 2 stitches on the right needle. Slide it off, and you can see we have a nice little row of bound off stitches here. So you just keep going. There's a couple tricks to binding off neatly. One of them is you don't want to pull too tight, and you also don't want to pull too loosely. If you pull too tightly, you will end up having your work at the very top will kind of pucker and be tight, and it looks bad, and it makes your nice square of knitting, it kind of tilts it in and makes it too tight. If you have it too loose, then it's going to kind of do the opposite. It's going to bow out and look loose, and it just won't look very good. So try to keep your tension pretty even. Don't pull too tight. Don't leave it too loose. You just kind of want to have a nice medium tension. So then you just keep going. You can see here. You keep going until you have all your stitches, and then I'll show you what to do at the end. Okay, so we have 2 stitches left on the left, 1 stitch on the right. So we'll knit this one, slip the first stitch over the second. Now here's the last stitch. So we're still going to do the same thing. You're going to knit it, and you're going to slide it over, and then you're left with 1 stitch on the needle. If you're super strong, you could tear the yarn, just kind of pull it to break it. If you have scissors, you can break it, or you can cut it. I don't have scissors with me, so I just made the loop really big, and I tuck my little ball through the stitch, that last stitch here, and then you just pull tight. And there we go. We have a nice little swatch. So cut this when we're done. Cut so you have about 6 inches of it, and then you're going to weave in your ends. But yeah, this is just a nice little swatch we did. So that's how you bind off your stitches. And if you're curious, this colorway is my Stormy Weather colorway in my Britty Rae Knits shop, so you can go online and find that. Otherwise, we finished our little swatch.